Hey all, Glenn Kirschner here. So let's talk about today's press conference given by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He really had only one mission at today's press conference. It was to call out Vladimir Putin for commissioning hits on our U.S. troops. It was to criticize him. It was to send a clear signal that he will be punished. This will not be tolerated. We will protect our men and women in uniform. Let's have a look at how Mike Pompeo handled that mission.
I don't want to comment on the intelligence. The CIA has put out a statement. The DNI has put out a statement. But I can tell you the intelligence community handled this incredibly well. We see threats in intelligence reporting to our soldiers stationed all over the world every single day. Every single day.
Can I ask one question? Mike Pompeo, what the hell is so funny when you are relating that in intelligence reports you see threats to U.S. soldiers every single day, and you smile and you smirk and you laugh? Now, I understand some people have a habit of, nervous laughter. But can I tell you, as a prosecutor for 30 years, I've been involved in thousands of interviews with witnesses, with cooperators, with defendants. And I've seen that smile and that smirk and that laugh 1,000 times. And it is generally born of equal parts deception, misdirection, and arrogance. Let's keep watching how Mike Pompeo handles himself.
And so I can assure you that whatever reporting it is that you're referring to, that we responded in precisely the correct way with respect to making sure that our forces were postured appropriately, that they were aware of the level of the threat, the credibility of the threat, and that we were there.
So Mike Pompeo tells us that whatever it is you're reporting, whatever these reports are about, I can tell you that we handled it precisely the correct way. I was half expecting him to tell us it was a perfect call. Do you see, folks, that he can't even give voice to what we all know Russia was doing? Putin commissioned hits on our troops, and the man can't even say it. You can't even say it, Mike. You can't even give voice to it. Let's keep watching. Let's see if Mike Pompeo does any better.
Second, the fact that the Russians are engaged in Afghanistan in a way that's adverse to the United States is nothing new. By the way, some members of Congress are out there today suggesting that they are shocked and appalled by this. They saw the same intelligence that we saw. So it would be interesting to ask them what they did when they saw whatever intelligence is that they are referring to. They would have had access to this information as well. Not just the intelligence committees, by the way, even more broadly than that.
So what Mike Pompeo does next is he downplays the significance of this information. He tells us, oh, this is nothing new. I mean, Russia's position in Afghanistan is adverse to our position. This is just more of the same old, same old. Really? Putin commissioning hits on our troops? Say its name, Mike. Then he starts the blame shifting. Congress. It's Congress's fault. What did Congress do about it? Well, you know what, Mike? Congress ain't the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Let's see if Mike Pompeo starts to rally.
We took this seriously. We handled it appropriately.
So Mike Pompeo tells us we took this seriously, we handled it appropriately. Let's see if that holds water, because I think we had a tweet today from Donald Trump on this very topic. Donald Trump says, quote, "Do people still not understand that this is all a made-up fake news media hoax started to slander me and the Republican Party. We took this seriously. We acted appropriately. Let's see if Mike Pompeo can save himself in the balance of this press conference.
The Russians have been selling small arms that put Americans at risk there for 10 years. We've objected to it. To your point, when I meet with my Russian counterparts, I talk with them about this each time. Stop this. We think we have a not perfect, but somewhat overlapping objective in Afghanistan. It's on their doorstep. We know they were routed in Afghanistan, right? So they have an objective there too, to reduce the risk of terrorism there. So yes, maybe not every time, but with great frequency, when I speak to my Russian counterparts, we talk about Afghanistan. We talk about the fact that we don't want them engaged in this.
So now Mike Pompeo tells us that, he talks to his Russian counterparts all the time. And, we really have overlapping interests. We're really all on the same page here. Really. And has he yet mentioned that Putin commissioned hits on U.S. troops? Has he said, I talk to my Russian counterparts all the time, and I tell them there's going to be hell to pay because we learned that Putin commissions hits on our troops, and you will be held accountable? No, Mike Pompeo assures us that he talks to them all the time and discusses their overlapping interests. Let's see where Mike Pompeo goes next.
But it's just so everybody can be level set. Money flowing to Afghanistan to support the Taliban has been going on since we went to Afghanistan, now almost 2 decades ago. It's not just the Russians. Indeed, probably not the majority of the Russians. Money's flowed from lots of places, from Iran. Even today, the Iranians continue to undermine what we're trying to accomplish in terms of peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan.
So now Mike Pompeo tells us 2 things. Well, money flows from Russia to Afghanistan all the time. He neglects to take up the New York Times reporting that there have been electronic transfers of money discovered from Russian military-controlled bank accounts into Taliban-controlled bank accounts that inferentially are part of what? Putin's scheme to put hits out on U.S. soldiers. Again, Pompeo downplays it, ignores it really. Oh, there's money flowing all the time, and who can really keep track? Then he starts to point at Iran. Why? Because he's trying to deflect our attention away from Putin putting hits on U.S. troops. Come on, Mike. Say its name. Call it out. Protect our soldiers. Let's see where Mike Pompeo ends up.
It's incredibly important that you take in context how it is this reporting is developed and how it is the United States has responded to this. We do everything we can. And this president has been vicious in securing American freedom and protecting American soldiers. Last point, there's some suggested somehow that there was an appropriate response taken because this was Russia. If you have 20 minutes, I will read to you what this administration has done with respect to Russia, but instead I'll just provide it to you for the record. But it starts with a $700 billion allocation of resources to the Department of Defense. It continues with withdrawal from the INF, something the Russians remain unhappy about. What we've done in Syria to push back against them, including against the Wagner Group. This administration has taken seriously the threat from Russia. I only wish we had not had so much to clean up from the previous administration's work to allow Russia to get on the ground in Syria, make enormous gains, interfere in elections in the United States of America under the previous administration's watch. We've had a lot to clean up, and President Trump has been serious about responding to this in a way that protects America, keeps Americans safe, and every day working diligently to make sure that we keep our soldiers safe wherever any threat, whether that's from Russia or otherwise presents itself.
So, to recap, Mike Pompeo blames it on Iran, blames it on Congress, blames it on the Obama administration, and he won't even say Putin's name. Not once during the press conference does he even say, "We condemn Vladimir Putin commissioning hits on our U.S. troops. We criticize Russia. There will be hell to pay. There will be accountability for what they have done to us and to our troops." He can't even criticize Putin. But he does complain about the fact that Russia interfered in our 2016 presidential election. Yeah, that was the interference that got Donald Trump elected. That's what you're going to complain about. You know, Mike, after your steadfast refusal to criticize Vladimir Putin or to say anything about holding Russia accountable or to say anything about how you're going to take measures to sanction Russia, to protect our troops, there is only one decent thing for you to do. Mike Pompeo, you should resign.